I think my story could be just inspiration for someone who, not from the field and who thinks that he or she is not clever enough or something, or can find some power inside.
Welcome to SEO Unveiled. Today, I've got a great episode for you with Anna Matviienko, and I just want to welcome her to the call. Thanks, Anna, for joining us.
Thanks for having me. Hello, everybody.
Yeah, so Anna started her career in 2018 when she joined Jetocotpus as a content strategist. She dove into nuances of technical SEO by creating articles, guides, and case studies with best practices of log file analysis, crawler audits, on-page optimization, and more. Wow, she's got a really good technical handle on everything just by understanding her background. The content was aimed at heads of SEO, so you know that she has to know her stuff. Her articles were published on Polish, Canadian, American, and Ukrainian SEO-related websites, so she's super global. Afterwards, she joined Idea Digital Agency as a junior SEO specialist, but was soon promoted to team lead and then head of SEO while the company was growing like 50%. Since the Russian invasion to her homeland, Ukraine has challenged Idea Digital Agency's business roadmap. She switched to an in-house position. Now she's working as a technical SEO manager in the iGaming industry. I'm really excited today, Anna, because you've got like an amazing background. I'm like impressed just having you on here because it's like an amazing amount of cool things that you've been doing in the last couple of years.
Thank you so much, Clay, for the opportunity to share my knowledge and my career path. I really hope my story will inspire someone to try new things and to develop yourself. So thank you very much.
Yeah, and I feel like you must have a really interesting story of why you got into SEO just by knowing your background. So can you tell us a little bit more about how did you get into SEO?
Yeah, sure. It's a really interesting story. And I think my story could be just inspiration for someone who, not from the field and who thinks that he or she is not clever enough or something, or can find some power inside to switch in the career. Sure. So in fact, I was a Ukrainian teacher, a teacher of Ukrainian language in primary school and the middle school. And in some day, I just understand that I want to get more from my life. I want to get some new knowledge, and life gave me the chance. Mother of one of my students, we were just chatting, and she mentioned that she and her partner were opening a startup, and I found out that it was Jetocotpus. It's competitor of Screaming Frog crawler, a SaaS crawler, and at that moment it was just a startup, and she invited me to join as a content strategist to their team, and it was a great start for me because I have a chance not only to write content, but also to get this in-depth understanding of technical SEO on my mind. It's just a basement of SEO to understand how things are done in code, then it could be easier to learn on-page and off-page SEO tactics. So yeah, I didn't have this smooth path from the beginning, from really easy terms. I needed to dive deep into technical SEO and Google everything. My first day was like, what? What is it? What is crawler? What is Google? What is site operator? Or something like that. Yeah, but I'm really great. I did it.
I love it. I love it. You were working as a teacher, teaching Ukrainian language in school, and it's just like this opportunity just landed on your lap. You must have been a great teacher, because I know that, as a parent, that the teacher of my child, if I'm going to, ask them to do something outside of school, they're probably like the best teacher I've ever known. Right. So you're probably a really good teacher. And then this like opportunity landed on you to kind of join an awesome startup. And I feel like it's so inspiring for people that, maybe they love their job, or maybe they're looking for something different, or maybe they're not, but like that that there's so many opportunities out there, and you've kind of like, this just kind of just started a different career for you, and you've done so well since. So I'm super excited for you. I love that story. It makes me super excited. And so since you know so much about technical SEO, and I feel like, technical SEO it sounds so challenging, but I feel like once you start to learn it, it's not as challenging, especially if you have any technical background, if you have any development background, or you've taken just a web development class. I feel like the technical aspects start to unfold and they become a little bit easier to understand.
Yeah.
But the things that always are challenging for me to figure out, and something that maybe a little bit more, is, like there's so many trends going on in the industry, whether it's technical or content or whatever. There's so many the trends going on. Like what is a trend that you think is going on that you're really excited about, and you've either started doing something in that space, or you're planning to do something to take advantage of that?
Yeah. I really do proud that today everything SEO is focused on user and user intent and user desire to get the information. And I'm really excited about that. I think that it's where we should everyone from SEO developers, everyone who works in IT, they should focus on a user, not on Google. And I'm really glad that in 2022, majority of specialists, they understand that they just could get backlinks or do some tricky, great techniques. It just every recent year, it works worse and worse, and people just need to be concentrated on so things like mobile-friendly interfaces, diversity for people, and their ability to read your content, about the quality of those content and articles, and also on those technical aspects such as user-friendly interfaces and fast loading speed. It's really important. So on my mind, that is the biggest so simple. It's simple. It should be like that, but for some period of time when internet just started to developing, people they searched for some tricks, these useless techniques, how to not to have a good competition, but just to try to get on first position of Google. But I really enjoy that Google didn't decide to work that way.
I feel like that whole tricks thing, it's like one thing that a designer that I was working with a few years back said over and over is, don't trick the user. And I feel like SEO has been filled with tips and tricks and tactics for so many years. And I love your perspective of focusing on the user again. It's almost like SEO has gotten, it started out as like, maybe more like tips and tricks, and then became more focused on content and writing better and better content. But there's always been, so many different avenues. And I feel like SEO is just becoming broader and broader in terms of the skills required to do well, right? So now you have to almost be a user experience designer to understand users and user intent past just the search term, right? And it's like, what kind of content is going to deliver that, or what kind of experience going beyond just a content piece, going to how things load. All these kinds of things start to become like, you're a designer, you're a developer, you're an SEO specialist, and they're all the same person. And so it's so crazy how big that umbrella is. I love the user focus.
Yeah.
So.
And, I just want to add that in 2022, it's everyone talk about meeting user expectations and so forth, but we also need to change something in our head, because we have so many information around us how to do the things right. But if your team, everyone is your team, don't know what to do, what is the main goal of your product, of your site, of your business, it just won't work. If everyone wants to repeat every day, I'm concentrated on user intent, I want to bring new interesting, new innovative products that will change the world. It sounds something that you heard so many times, but I think it works, and everybody should repeat it in your team to get success in SEO in 2022.
Yeah, repeating the goal to make it super clear. I love that. That's amazing. So, when you were talking about user intent and things like that, can you talk about some tactics, like some just real kind of like maybe some examples or some things that people can do if they want to do more user-focused things, but they just don't, they've been used to just keyword research and writing an article on a keyword. Like, how do they switch gears and what do they do differently?
Yeah, it's a really interesting question because from my experience, I worked with a lot of SEO specialists and with different clients who just wanted to win the game. Yeah, so to take the topic, to cover it, to get the precise number of characters they should cover in their blogs and surfers. But yeah, in some way it could work, and it even could help you to get it on the second page, but not in the top position. If you have this big goal to get in top, you should not only understand, what is popular, but you should go beyond and to be expert in a topic you want to cover, or to find experts and chat with them to understand not only what is in a trend right now, but what will be in trends tomorrow, and cover, not to repeat. I think the biggest misconception in created content is to duplicate, to try to, just scrape the most high quality content and make this same, but it won't work. It's already in top. You need to go beyond and make it even better. And I know it sounds really challenging how to do that. What should we do? But I really do believe that it comes from heart and desire to understand this painful point of reader. What they missed, what your competitor missed. Not try to concentrate on strengths. Of course, try to take the most interesting parts from content, but also try to understand what they're missing in their content and try to replicate it, try to give it to user, and it will result in good rankings and positions and traffic from their site.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like duplicate content and replication, like that's a good tip of like, stay away from that. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty challenging to switch gears, I think, to that kind of new mindset. So, I mean, the interesting thing is, like, I'm wondering how you're able to get the content writers to kind of switch gears like that. Like, what more are they doing differently now than they were maybe a couple of years ago?
Yeah. I so see the difference in understanding how SEO and content team can work better together. A couple of years ago, I just saw how SEO keeping sending this technical task with some really basic understanding of, these our competitors try to do the same. This is a list of keywords. Use these keywords 2 times, 3 times. Repeat. Just try to repeat it. Yeah, but I think that it's really important to build that path of understanding that content team, content writers, they are important. They are, on my mind, the most important part of the team. Sometimes it's just misconceptions. As content writers are just freelancers that, they don't pay too much attention and dedication to the product. But by the end of the day, everyone will see the content which is written, and I think it's really important to build that relationships and give a content team understanding that their job is important, and that they really need to dive into the topic. And I see a good tendency that SEO specialists, they not covering how to write, they don't tell what to do, but they tell what they want to achieve with this content. They describe who is the target audience, for whom, what problem they want to cover. So instead of telling people, this is our title, this is our description, use this heading, try to give them understanding on what is the main target of your future piece of content. Yeah. So, yeah.
I feel like that becomes a lot more of a kind of, I mean, I can't think of the term, but it's almost like a prompt. Like, here's a writing prompt. Here's the target audience. Here's the topic. But you're going to have to write something that's more interesting or more in depth or more about the user than the 3 pieces that are at the top of this search term, right?
Yeah.
You can look at these for help and creativity, but you need to go past all of that. So you need to figure out what are the pieces that are missing out of the top content, and make sure you dive deep into everything that the things you need to cover the topic, but then make sure you don't have any missing pieces and you go beyond everybody else. I think that's tough to do. I feel like the content writers part where you're saying that they're the most important people, I feel like their job is becoming harder and harder in that kind of modality, but they also have more creativity. And I feel like they might prefer to do a better job than just 500 words in a quick targeted thing for a keyword, which is what people used to do years ago, 500 words on every keyword and keep going.
Indeed. And in modern era, when artificial intelligence could create 500 words article in 2 seconds, it's just not important to concentrate on the length, on keyword density, and so first it's important to understand on quality and in-depth knowledge of the topic which you try to cover in your blog.
Yeah. So, I mean, I love all these insights. I think, one thing that people always wonder about is how do you transition teams that are used to doing something one way? How do you get these strategies implemented in the companies or the different types of companies that you worked at?
Yeah.
Any tips for people when they're trying to, they could come in here, they could listen to you, Anna, and they could be like, all right, I've got to rewrite how we do our content marketing for our team. And how am I going to do that? How am I going to get that prioritized? How am I going to get that implemented? And maybe you have some tips and tricks that can help tricks that can help these people.
I wish I could give some one-size-fits-all approach. And I know that people are trying to hear things are different, but it's true. I couldn't give some universal tips that will help you. But from my experience, I had worked all in-house position, also in an agency side. I see how sometimes it's really difficult to transit your goal, your understanding of processes to each member of a team. But if we talk about tips how to do that, first of all, I think it's really important to understand what is your strengths of your team and what is your weaknesses, and try to teach people together to be all in one page of what is your biggest goal. In agency, when I was a team lead, I always I try to get people together, everyone who works with SEO, and also invite clients. It's really important to invite clients in your team, and to be honest that you're not understanding something about the product. Because if really often, especially in agency sites, people trying to show their expertise, and from first days, I know everything about the project. I know how to do things SEO, but it's much better to tell clients, I don't understand your business well. Could you please tell me what brings you money? What brings you money? And I will help you to achieve your goal if you will give me some simple words. I'm not your client, so just don't use these hard words to explain. Just in simple words, give me your current goals and your current weaknesses, and we will find out the way how we could do it together. And after that, when client will explain what is he trying to get from SEO, it was really fun experience when sometimes I even pursued not to use SEO channel for that goal. Yeah, it was a minus, because it's better to lose clients, but not to disappoint them in the long run. And they decide, I just understood they need to, for example, for their goals, they need PPC campaign, a channel will work better, or targeting. They just, at that point, they didn't understand how SEO works and what they can achieve. First of all, try to understand what you want to achieve, and then build these small steps on how to do that. Because in SEO, you could work. It may work for some result when you just make little steps and do everything is the same way. Just gather semantic core, do some technical audits, create some backlinks. And it could help, but it will be just some little success. If you want to get more, try to develop your social skills, and try to understand the client goal, business goal, and try to teach everyone in your team who is not on the same page as you.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's really helpful, where there's so much involved with how to really kind of bring everybody together and move the clients forward, or move the agency forward. Maybe like switching gears now to a little bit more towards what you've discovered a better way to do. So I feel like there's a lot of things that people are doing these days, and that maybe they shouldn't be doing, and a lot of people doing things that they should be doing, but they're not doing enough of. But what do you think everyone in our space should stop doing now? Like, people are talking about it, but it's like, let's just stop. Just stop. That's not a good idea.
Yeah. Yeah, first of all, it's build links. Build links, just, buy backlinks, or try to get this useless backlinks for classifiers from forums and so first. Stop doing it. It just won't work. Even since Google announced that they implement those the user-generated content tags, and it just won't work. You will just waste your time on useless things. So stop to...
Even if you have a huge backlink gap between you and your competitor?
I do believe it's better to try to do it in a natural way, to do high quality outreach campaigns. I'm not talking the backlinks are not important. Of course, it's the biggest part and the most challenging part, because everyone talk about on-page and technical techniques, but very less people like link building, to tell the truth. It's really important, but I sometimes see that people just concentrate on the numbers, how to increase a domain rating in Ahrefs or in SEMrush or in some other SEO tools.
Yeah.
How to make this path of referent domain increase more smooth, not to lose it. It's not about that. It's about quality of external backlinks that you get. And I even, I remember some fun story when a client, we find a really great source for external link, really relevant to the niche, but client said, that domain has lower domain rating than our domain, and that's why we don't want to get backlink from the domain. And it was like, after 2 hours of this conversation, we pursued him to to move forward to get that backlink, but I just want to warn that SEO, it's not only about numbers, but first of all, understanding whether this particular source will be a good add-in to your backlink profile.
Yeah.
Each time you try to build backlinks, not try to get the number of backlinks, but try to understand whether this backlink is relevant to my content, whether it will be a good addition to my backlink profile, what will our, my audience become more, get some new knowledge from the source, what can we do to each other to make this content more popular, and so forth. Yes, just to approach building. So stop building links, try to build relationships with external sources instead.
I feel like you've said so many things in this to stop doing, not only to stop building, just random backlinks, but also to stop going after vanity metrics, which I think is almost as important as the backlinks that you talked about, which is, the domain, rating. Like, stop caring so much about moving your domain rating from 23 to 24. And sure, the more you work on backlinks, you're going to get that to go up and up over time, and you're going to think you're doing really well. But what if you're just increasing traffic? And if you're increasing traffic, you might be thinking you're doing well. But if the traffic doesn't convert for your clients or for your company, then what use is it? It almost is like you got to have a real good insight of, is what I'm doing going to impact our company? Is it going to improve our business? Is it going to improve, our product? Is it going to improve our customer experience for people? Or is it just a distraction? And I think there's a lot of numbers in this industry. So the vanity metrics are a distraction, just like the backlinks. I feel like you've hit on two major points in one. And I love to find all these tidbits. I feel like you've got so many, like a Swiss Army knife of tips and tactics here. So, okay, stop doing backlinks, or stop just spending so much time focusing on kind of the pointlessness of just building backlinks. Try to do it more naturally, and stop worrying about vanity metrics. But what should people really start to be doing differently now?
This is an interesting question. What do you mean? What they should try to do another way? You mean?
Yeah. So they should stop doing backlinks and vanity metrics. What should they start doing? Kind of like the opposite.
Yeah, indeed. So before jumping into that question, I also want to add to the previous point about technical stuff, because I just understood that I see too often people talk a lot about on-page and content, about backlinks, but I also see a lot of misconception in technical. So I just want to give a quick tip. Not to gather everything in technical recommendation in one basket. Instead try to separate bugs and feature in your technical audits. I see so much that people try to cover everything in technical audits and say developers tickets any 5 seconds. Oh, my title is broken, or I have no index in one page from 1 million of pages. Stop doing that. Try to prioritize, and of course, it's really important to separate bugs and features to show what is really important to fix, and after that, tell what should be improved on your side. So one no index, it doesn't pay attention. It's not a big deal on 1 million website.
Unless it's your homepage. So I feel like that's a big bug. I'm getting in depth to change that tomorrow. But if that happened on some of our clients, but
I think it's time to say it depends.
Yeah. But I get it. It's like, don't get so bogged down by the small things, and try to separate out smaller things from bigger impact things, right? So I would always think the no index, no follows would be a big bug, but that's just me. I don't know, maybe The funny thing is I live and breathe in technical SEO. So it's so hard for me to say something that's not important other than like an H3 being removed or something like that, where I'm like, yeah, that doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But like the funny thing is, one page having some bad technical SEO stuff, I get it, right? If it's not a high traffic page and, one day is not a big deal, but
Yeah.
making those changes to make them back, I don't know. Maybe I disagree.
Yeah, I just want to say that I think in 2022, when you say, when you ask some question, I just I need to think a few seconds because SEO is so huge. It just I don't know who in which aspect to talk about. I can spend hours and talk about each aspect.
I definitely understand that, like, if you go through like a site audit and you write 100 tickets and you send them to developers, they're just going to be like, oh my God, who is this person? They're just like every 2 weeks, they're going to send me like 100 tickets, and they're just, some of them are so small. So I do understand like the idea of like focusing on what is something that's a bug or what something that's a feature, so you can separate things out, prioritize them, maybe like put together like 5 different things in one ticket, make it seem like it's just one thing. I don't know. Put a bunch of ACs on the, or like bug 1, 2, 3 that are all SEO related bugs that are like, in the head or this or that, to try to make it easy to understand.
I think if we're talking about how to do the thing right in SEO, yeah. So if we just see the big picture, when you work in any aspect of SEO, technical, it doesn't matter, on page, link building, try first to stop. Not to be in a hustle and bustle and do everything. Stop and think how much resources it will take to implement your change, how much time, money you should spend to make a deal, and what will be the result. Because in SEO, SEO specialists, they are too often concentrated on creating those tickets, creating all of this covering, in their tickets, in their implementations, but they just don't pay attention on what will be the result, and is it worth to spending those resources and time on the end by the results? Because it's all about money. I think SEO, if we talk about the future, it will move to more. It will move to understand that SEO is part of marketing. It's part of. It's difficult to measure, but in some way, you should measure it in your head. First of all, not the particular numbers, but in general, the impact of your changes that you want to implement on the site. Think about it first, and then try to understand whether it's worth doing on the site.
Yeah. I mean, I always think of it as like SEO is starting to become the kind of the like earphone, or like the microphone, where kind of the issues get amplified, right? So if you don't have a really good design team, or you don't have a strong design focus on the company, if you don't have good writers, or a lot of focus on users on the writers, or you don't have a strong technical team, like development team, that have really slow pages, this is the microphone or the amplifier that's going to be like, hey, we definitely need to pay attention to our development team and go through this technical debt to make our site faster, which is something people didn't really think about as much sometimes, right? Versus, also taking a harder look into content, like you talked about, understanding the user, and then also on a design, having a good user experience so people find what they're looking for fast. And I love it because it's really all about the user these days, and that kind of is what you've been talking about this whole time. Such a user focus. I love it. I want to give you a couple minutes to plug whatever you're doing now. If you're working on anything on the side, or you want people to reach out to you, what can they do, or is there something that you'd like to just talk about for a second or two?
Yeah, sure. I would be glad if you connect me on LinkedIn. You will find Anna Matviienko. I also started a YouTube channel. You could find it as SEO Girl on YouTube. It's not a big deal, but I'm just trying to share knowledge there. I would be glad if your audience will subscribe and give me some insights on what to cover, because for me, I'm not, I don't believe I'm an expert in this, so it's true. But I do believe I have a great experience with working with different teams, with different markets, not only Ukrainian, but foreign markets also. And I just want to inspire someone if someone wants to find the way in SEO, I will be always glad and open to discuss my past, how I did it, to get some tips. So yeah, welcome to join me in LinkedIn and YouTube.
Oh, amazing. I love it. I love it. I'm definitely going to be a subscriber right after this so that I can get all the insight from you. Thank you so much. And I really appreciate the time. This was a wonderful episode. Thank you so much, Anna.